Hello, friends, colleagues, community members, neighbors, fellow countrymen, blessed Australians. My name is Ephraim Osagai. I'm originally from Nigeria. I've been in Australia now since 2003, actually. And since then, came here with my wife together, and since then we had three beautiful children. It is really a pleasure to be making this clip. It's not just because I want to do a video or because I am the most handsome guy around. It's just an opportunity to share a story, to share a couple of things that make me excited to get up every day, looking forward to the next day. And particularly, my heart has been drawn increasingly to multicultural people because obviously we live in a country that's one of the greatest examples of multiculturalism. And to be quite upfront, Australia is a blessed place to be. I've been in a few countries, and the country where I grew up from, the country where I lived in, where I was raised, before ended up in this country. And I want to emphasize and reiterate again that it's a blessing to be living in Australia. Of course, with everything in life, there are also some challenging parts in the country. It doesn't make it a less blessed country. It's just what it is. Especially for people that have migrated into the country, there are the good part, there are the challenging part. I don't want to call it bad. And there are parts that we've learned over time, lessons learned. And that's why I just want to quickly introduce my very first book while in this country, A Handbook for Migrants, the good, the challenges, and the lessons. A whole meaningful and reflective guidelines for people coming over to the country. Australia has its good, numerous, and really unequivocally good part of being in this country. I'll give you an example. When we migrated into Australia, there was opportunity for scholarship, opportunities for employment despite the difficulties, but the opportunities are there, and it's also one of the challenges I'll come to later. Opportunities for families to be cared for. I can be very, very definite that there are very few countries that can boast of the kind of welfare system that these countries offer. Again, there's no perfection. Every country will have their challenging parts as well. And particularly for multicultural people, for people of migrant backgrounds, for people that have culturally and linguistically diverse background. When you come into this country, one of the first challenges you face is just that culture shock. The fact that you have to leave where you've grown up in, you just uprooted yourself and you start afresh, literally afresh. And that comes with these challenges. Again, nobody to blame here. We made the decision to migrate. We filled the form. We made a conscious effort to say, I want to seek for greater opportunities, and I took the leap. But the challenges are there. They shouldn't be denied. So particularly from a professional background, from employment vocational point of view, the number one challenge you face immediately is just that lack of local experience. It's a chicken and egg situation. You come here with multiple degrees, even massive experiences before you came here, but you're told you don't have local experience. closely associated with that is the whole issue of networks. Back in Nigeria, where I was working and really with a good career, I had quite some vast network across the vocational range. But by the time I came in here, it became zero. So you literally start from afresh. And it's gotten better over time. And that is why this book was really important. We're trying to let people just share some lessons learned so that people don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make the same mistakes we made. You don't have to, only when you get on ground before you start developing your network. Like I wrote in this book, I said, start from the country before you left. Look at what the new country you're going to, what they have. What are the areas that are more prolific in terms of employment? Where are the trends of the future of work? What are the professionals you can connect with in your own professional field before you leave? So many times when we come like that, we're ready to seize all opportunities that are available. So I give my hands up to those that are doing it tough to start with. And hopefully, I'm very aware that a lot of my fellow migrants do end up in the career of their choices. So really, that is one area of challenge. Lack of local work experience, lack of just that network, and also just your qualifications not being recognized. This book has a lot on that, so there's no time to go through the details. If you want to know more, you can go have it there. But one area that has really been a big challenge that for me personally and for my fellow migrants that have come over, people of multicultural background, is the fact that when you migrate, there is a dislocation. It's not so much of a physical wound, but I'm talking about our roots. When you migrate, you've left, you literally uprooted yourself from your roots, from where you've developed tap roots. And one significant with roots, it brings stability, it brings nutrients, it brings identity, it brings something that you cannot duplicate wherever you are. So this other book that is quite new, the launch is coming up on Tuesday, the 19th of November. And this is one that I'm quite excited about. Yes, I have a few other books, but if you ask for my opinion, what is my most significant contribution, which will grow over time, it's going to be this book, Voices from Home, Wisdom from Our Diasporic Roots. It's very important for us to relate back to our roots. I do recognize that some of us may have experience of bad roots. Unfortunately, some people don't want to even remember the family they've come from. They don't want to remember the background and the experience they've had. Some people literally ran from war situations. So if you want to say, oh, why should I relate to such a root? I do appreciate that. But hey, my people, what I'm talking about here is to acknowledge you have roots. However terrible your experience could have been, your root is your root. Your root is your stability. Your root is your identity. It may not be as flash, it may not be as interesting, it may not be as exciting as many others, but we can correct it, we can acknowledge it, we can go back to our roots. So I'm really excited, I'm really a big fan, and the good thing is that various stakeholders are beginning to recognize the importance of roots for settlement, the importance of roots for progress in a new country. And that's why we have organizations like Office of Multicultural Interest beginning to sponsor language programs. The other day I was involved in a think tank, and even at federal level, the government is beginning to identify the importance of people to be actually supported to identify with their roots. So it's very important to do that. It's important to have a conversation about it. It's vital for us to begin to to have the discussion in our own family unit. As parents who have come over with children who were born here, we recognize the dislocation. We recognize the challenges. It's very challenging sometimes to get your child that is Australian, that is born here, all they know is here, to identify with their roots. We recognize that challenge, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything about it. Roots give you strength. It gives you identity. It gives you nutrient. It gives you stability. It gives you growth. You cannot have a big tree without its roots. So I'm hoping that this message will go to all key stakeholders. It's not just for me and my generations or my community alone. The government, I'm thankful that the government is beginning to recognize that. I'm thankful that leaders of communities are beginning to recognize that. I'm thankful that even grant bodies are beginning to recognize the need to support any initiative that will make people to be more stable, to be more identified with their roots. So it's not just about promoting a book. This is not the best book around, I know that. It's not a bestseller yet. Hopefully it could be. But I'm just adding to the narratives. I'm just adding to the stories. And that is why really I'm so excited about working with youth. This last book I want to talk about, working with 25 youth to really, get them to come together in a think tank and begin to add to the narratives about their future. The fact that you are a youth and a migrant or of a migrant family or background or roots do not make you less talented. Actually, we've heard the researches and even thought experts have made us to know that multiculturalism promotes creativity. Multiculturalism adds value to the bottom line. But we've had a system, unfortunately, some narratives that have made some of our youth feel less valued. And that is why these 25 youth came together. And they are authors. They are now beginning to be speaking to other youths about what they've learned as a result of this process. This book is not about a book. It's about the process. Because they now know together they can achieve a lot. So friends, I know that the video clip is not enough to say all, but I just want to, I hope I've bared my mind and my heart a bit. I do my regular job. I'm a project management professional. I teach in the university. I do some consulting work. But hey, this is now my passion. I believe we need to keep contributing to our communities. We need to make our youth feel valued. I believe we need to give them reason to look forward to tomorrow. My heart is torn to pieces when I hear of another suicide. And now nobody seems to be escaping the scourge of mental health issues. So yes, why I do all these other things to bring the bread and butter on the table, this is my passion, because we want to contribute to the community. So thank you for listening to me. I want to say again, I must say, Roots TV has come to really contribute to the community. I'm excited about the project, and I'm just really singing praise with what I'm seeing. And the fact that media, of course, media brings a lot of bad stuff, but this is contributing to a good stuff. So thank you for listening to my message. My name is Ephraim Osagai. You can connect with me on various media. I really love to connect. I would love to keep having the conversations. Like I said, this particular book, Voices from Home, The launch is on the 19th of November, City of Canning, the Canning Town Hall, along Albany Highway in Cannington. If you can come along, because it's not just a book launch. I want to have a conversation. I want to keep having conversations because they are always diverting views, but we must continue the conversations. Thank you, friends.